Oh
You know,
my God.
I never saw this film. I just kind of went about it. I saw it, and man, it is in a lot of ways really prescient. You know, it's like it's that whole thing about we record the film digitally on these cards, and like,
Yeah.
wait a
And then they're mailed
Harry
back.
Shearer got a screen credit for
You guys noticed that?
yeah.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I can't think he was one of the guys with the camera on his head. He probably was at least one or two times, and he did a voiceover on radio.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so
in the car.
Yeah, he was Pete, I think.
It was Pete. That's right. Oh my God.
Also, this was produced by Penelope Spheris, which I thought
Yeah,
was
interesting.
Yeah,
really
which I thought
interesting.
was interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting because she knows a lot about documentaries and about comedy, and somehow this is neither.
So is this her decline? Is this putting her decline money to good use? Is that what's going on
No,
here?
but I will.
No,
give
this is before
film-
that.
Oh,
there'd never
really?
there wouldn't. I mean, the cool thing about this film is there would never be Spinal Tap or Christopher Guest without
Spinal
this
Tap
movie.
comes out the same year as this.
Really?
Spinal
No,
Tap's
not
being-
true. Not even
No,
close.
no.
Not even close.
Spinal Tap's later.
When was Spinal Tap?
Way later.
This is 79, I believe.
This
Yes,
is 79.
79,
Spinal Tap,
yeah.
Spinal Tap, I want to say is like 83.
4.
83, 84. And when did Airplane come out?
80.
Or 80. So
80.
it's both
Or
Paramount.
81.
These came from both Paramount.
I only have one. I can tell Tad doesn't like it. I think that's very funny. I think I only have one negative comment, and that's like I just think Albert Brooks is really full of himself and he can't get out of his own way.
Well, he works with it in this film. That's actually an asset.
This is the character that this is the first version of this character. As I was telling John the other night, this is the most irritating version of this character. Then you get to Real Life in 1981. Sorry, Modern Romance in 81. He's dialed it back about 10%. Then you get to Lost in America in 80.
I've seen Lost in America.
Dials it
I've
back
seen Lost in
another
America.
10%. Defending Your Life. It's a little, even slightly less annoying. By the time you get to Mother, I think he's the sympathetic one. But he was.
Well, I was going to say,
this weird
like,
Woody
I know,
Allen meets Larry David thing.
I know.
Right
More
out of
of
the
his
gate.
later career. I like him in doses. I think this was just a little much.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. The thing is,
I must admit, I saw it in 79 and I liked it slightly better this time.
he cast Charles Grodin, who's got the best damn straight face in Hollywood.
Because he was on
on
Candid Camera.
And a camera, and that's where he perfected it. And it was just freaking perfect. It was just him and oh god, it was Marty McFly's grandmother. I can't remember the name of the actress who played the wife in this. Yeah, well, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just nailed it. And the thing is, it's not a happy story. It's like as it goes along, these guys are in serious psychic pain at the end. It's not. It's
No,
you're
I think
laughing
this is
because it's Albert Brooks. He's doing it, but at the end, it's like tragic. It's weird.
But that's the
I
problem.
love the send up of the producer on the phone.
Who was the producer? I think.
Oh, on the speakerphone, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a unique idea. It's a good, but I think it was kind of boring. A lot of it was really boring.
Yeah, that's my whole problem with this movie is that it's really funny for the first like 20 minutes and then it just craters out. It just like as soon as they get past the scene where she goes to the gynecologist, it's just like, oh, there's nothing going on. Like there's nothing interesting happening in this movie.
Did you
And then it
recognize
just-
the actor who played the gynecologist? He's the bad comic that Woody Allen has to write for in Annie Hall.
Man,
Oh, no.
it's actually literally the part I fell asleep in was right around there because I actually fell asleep for like
Oh,
20
that's a
minutes.
funny scene in the movie.
Woke up, rewound it, and watched the part.
Well, when he comes over dressed as the clown, you feel both that his character is desperate, but also the movie itself that you're watching is desperate because it's getting very boring.
That's the exact point where Sheila said, this is so self-indulgent.
Yes, it's self-indulgent.
Isn't that the point?
Perfect.
I guess,
One of
but you
the
could say,
worst
okay, he
people.
created this character to be awful. Well, success, he's fucking awful.
Yeah, the movie would be better if it had less of him in it. If it was more of Grodin and the family.
That works against the energy of the film. The guy.
Sorry.
He sets this up as saying, this is not about me. It's about this family. We're going to do a real life thing. At the end, it's all about him. He can't stay out of the limelight. And it's absurd. It's kind of wonderful. Yeah. And in that respect but
it wasn't enjoyable.
No, it's painful, but it was like, was it
like that's like we have to get to a point here where we have to say like, yeah, maybe he achieved the thing he was trying to achieve, but it's boring in the middle and it's self-indulgent all the way through.
For
Like,
sure.
Were you
Like-
guys
Sort of like
noticing
Star
that
Wars.
And
the
I'm okay
more
with
he-
Yeah, and I
I'm,
don't like Star Wars either.
I'm okay
or
with
he was getting
self-indulgence.
worried that his
I-
protagonist was unsympathetic. He kept getting his own character was getting more and more
Well,
unsympathetic.
and sometimes I'm okay with self-indulgence if it's funny, if it's working, if it's
Right.
like
It doesn't
something
do
is-
either. It's not good at either of those things.
Well, Chris, you're kind of a fan of you're a fan of this. You're a fan of
The first
Curb Your
4
Enthusi-
movies of his, I own all of. Well, you can't really get this
I
one.
was
But
gonna say,
I
was
love
also-
his movies.
Yeah, I know you love Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
You love Curb Your Enthusiasm, do you not?
Sandy's a much. I struggle sometimes with.
I'm
Struggle
a big-
sometimes with that.
I'm,
So
I'm
you're a
a big Curb
Seinfeld
fan.
guy, not a Friends guy.
How do
I'm
you
a big
feel?
Curb fan.
Yeah, you're a Seinfeld guy, not a Friends guy. Do you like Ricky Gervais?
I love Ricky.
I think the British Office is fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
it's
you
funny
like
because I
much
agree.
better.
I agree with everything that you're saying. I don't think that this captures any of that well enough.
Well, I was gonna say Chris also likes those really bitter aperitifs too.
Yeah.
He likes astringent, nasty tasting
Grapefruit and
shit.
Campari.
You like
Oh,
Wag the
Campari.
Dog.
Campari, man. That's a
Oh, I love Wag the Dog.
Campari
That's a
is
good. That's a fun
excellent.
movie.
Mhm.
I do too. I like
Stevens.
the satire. I like the sardonic. I like the subversive. I like all that stuff.
I don't disagree.
If I had
with you
laughed
guys.
more, I would not be taking this tack.
I don't
either.
disagree with you guys that yes.
No, I didn't think this one was
somewhere around the
particularly
horse scene. After the horse, it's definitely
That's just awful. The
Okay,
horse
first of
scene
all,
is
there's a real
awful.
horse. The older guy was the real vet, and there's a real he's doing his surgery. on a horse.
I think.
But
that-
do you know who played the owner of the horse? The guy with the big fancy outfit?
yeah,
Oh, that was
but-
awesome.
Nudie.
Nudie. You know who Nudie is?
No, who is he?
Oh, wait, Nudie from the Nudie suit.
The Nudie suit. Yeah, this
That
is
was-
the guy who
that was the Nudie
immigrated
suit.
to Hollywood and made a living making these elaborate costumes
Graham
for,
Parsons
for
has
country
one.
and
Like,
western
look what's
stars.
behind. Look what's behind
Oh.
Scott right now, though. That is funny, but it wasn't in the movie. Like that should have been
Right,
a
it is in
lot
the movie.
funnier.
It's a funny shot until what's going
But there-
on in the
wait,
scene
it's-
where it's
right,
just
it's-
boring.
Why
They
did you
explain
touch
it
that?
too
Actually,
much, it's too slow.
that was the funniest scene. That's why the very next shot is behind me, because that was the part I laughed out loud really at. Was this
This-
guy
As a
getting-
computer graphics guy, you probably thought this was pretty damn hilarious.
get it? Yeah, it was so crude, the computer graphics, and I laughed out loud. That
Well, it
This
was
just made me-
model,
1979, John.
This,
the
this
rotating
movie,
model, 3D model of the guy's head. I busted up.
Because
this
they
movie
did
kept-
it. They did it with vector
Vector,
graphic display.
Yeah, it was all It was
Yeah.
the old Star Wars console type.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Now, what do you think in terms of like? Guess we're kind of like rejecting it because it's like kind of a bumpy film. What about as a first effort for this kind of?
Well,
It's a pretty good first effort, I thought.
It's very ambitious. when
Again,
you
I think
think
it's a
about
great
it.
idea.
I mean,
It's a
there's
great
nothing. I've
idea.
never seen anything like it before this.
as a
Nothing.
Yeah.
prescient
Mhm.
prediction of a number of things that came. I mean, I actually think this would be a good double bill with Network.
Oh yeah.
I think it's more successful watching it just the other night. I think it's more successful there than as a consistently funny movie, although I still do laugh out loud a lot at this movie.
I mean, it anticipates not
I-
only digital cameras, but it anticipates reality television.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, non-celebrity celebrities. Well, it
hold,
even
but
mentions
hold on. As they mention earlier at the beginning of this film, there's something that predates
Yeah,
this.
he's
in, ni- in
riffing off
19
of
The Loud
American
Family.
The Loud Family, yeah.
Right.
An American Family.
in
Yes.
1973, that already happened.
Right.
So like we're 6 years after that, and he decides to make a parody of it.
He's
But, like,
fictionalizing it. Yeah.
But
But
what
yeah,
this,
but
what
that's-
this did,
But he's
what
still
this
coming
did,
up with a comedy fictional version, so that's
yeah. But what
unique.
this did for me watching it was I felt a lot of the time like I'd rather be watching Kentucky Fried Movie.
You are anxious to see my operation.
Oh, someone's got.
I feel like this has that same sort of manic energy that Kentucky Fried Movie had,
Yeah.
but that's able to focus it better. And because it's a movie that's just a series of sequences, it's not anything that's directly connected for most of it. It's able to harness that energy better. It's like the guy dressed as a clown burning down your house is funny
I'm laughing.
as one moment, but in the context of the movie, it's considerably less funny. Like I like that when I went back to capture this image, and I actually tried to get a couple before that I didn't think were that good. I enjoyed it more watching it out of context than I did watching it in context.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you say it, it's like a guy dressed as a clown burns down their house at the end. It's like that
with a
sounds like
tiki
funny ending.
torch.
I would
No.
watch that movie. You
I
know,
don't
that sounds funny.
This is this part where he goes out
Again,
and burns the house.
pressure.
I was laughing my ass off. I don't know what it was. It's just I think it finally breached the wall for me. It's like, okay, this is where this film's gone, and it's like, all right, just start laughing because
My favorite line of dialogue in this whole movie is from this scene where he says they made 6 of them, 5 of them worked, and we got 4 of them.
Yeah.
Like,
that's right.
like that's really funny. That's a good ABC joke.
Yeah.
And like, I just wish there was more of that in this. Like, I can feel the comedy behind the eyes of what's going on. It just doesn't come out enough for me.
I actually think that a lot of this is very funny. I just wish Albert Brooks was, I don't know, not Albert
In it?
Brooks. Like, yeah, I wish he was a little more likable.
He was determined to create a version of himself that's borderline repellent,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he just doubles and triples down on it consistently through the entire movie.
I really want to know what the
I
cocaine
actually
budget
don't
was
find
for
him
this.
repellent. I just think he's annoying. That's not as bad as repellent.
Well,
No, I mean,
Repellent would be more interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
If he was
He's
slimier,
just so annoying.
whiny.
You know, he was needy,
he's
in this.
whiny,
Very emotionally
he's-
needy, and just
Yeah,
obsessed with himself.
oh, when he runs up and he drops to his knees and he's grabbing them and he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, don't get it. And it's like,
that was
"Gosh,
kind of it got kind of real.
No,
It was
I-
weird.
shut up, dude.
Mhm.
The first half is, for me, again, I agree with you guys. You're not really saying anything I totally disagree with. I do think the second half is a lot weaker than the first half, but there are so many lines in this movie that I like. Is Mike Wallace, you see this guy, the baby broker, he sold children. And he's like, I was cleared to send me a retraction. He goes, oh yeah, well, let me see it. It's out being permaplacked.
That's right.
missed that.
Like
No,
that's
I'll
just-
actually-
Oh, I didn't.
Let me back up one
That
thing.
was the
Tad
best
said.
60 minutes episode ever.
Yeah, it was. That was pretty. I'm gonna back up
yeah,
one
the
thing.
horse thing makes me laugh. The bit at the beginning where they're showing all the tests before the guy with the things in his eyes and put the kid in the parent
circle?
Circle.
Yeah.
Those
He
were
starts hitting him. He
Einstein's
starts hitting the
too.
dad with the belt.
That's Art Center College of Design in LA.
Yeah. Also, that's his family. That's the Einstein.
That was pretty funny. The dad had to be like,
brother-
okay,
as his
Johnny,
brother-
God damn it now.
That's his brother and his brother's wife and the brother's kids. That's Super
Yeah.
Dave Osborne. Yeah. But
I
one
thank
thing
you
this
guys
is
for
one thing I
sitting
know
through
that
this.
you talked about this film being kind of snoozy in the middle, where it kind of slows down and kind of drift off. This is something that Tad has pointed out before. This era in late 70s, they started lighting everything super flat. And like it's not visually interesting because after it gets going, it's just kind of that bland, flat, low key, high key stuff that you're like hard to stay awake for because
Yeah, it's not a good looking movie.
No,
not good looking.
Which is wild because like this whole thing with the fire, from the beginning of when he comes in, he starts setting the fire. I think that actually looks really good.
Oh,
Like,
this
I-
looks fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, with the smoke and the backlighting from the flames and all of that, and then eventually he's outside and like you keep getting that side profile shot of him looking back and forth, and then it eventually comes to this, which as they put the scroll up, it's still a film.
Yeah.
Like it's not a freeze frame.
Right.
They're
It's not a freeze frame, it's
you
still
can,
going.
You can,
And
you
they're
can
just
see them moving
standing
around
there.
and like touching each other and stuff like that, which I think is
Yeah.
I-
that's
I do-
funny. I think that's funny.
I did get a little pang of like the hilarious fact that this guy made this movie about his family, and ultimately what he ends up just doing is burning their house down, literally.
And
Like,
destroying them emotionally.
Yeah, just
Right.
first, but
Right.
so there was a little bit of that. I had that, moment at the end where I was like, okay, that's kind of hilarious. Like he was like, it's going to be this fantastic movie. And then he destroys them and then also burns their house down.
Yeah, no, that's come on. That's what do you think? That's what I said when he
Like
got
that's
the,
playing the long game. And it, I felt that. a
Also,
little bit.
they're not super upset about him burning down the house. They're
No,
more concerned about
Because
the
they give him a better
kids.
house.
Hey, they
And
got
then, well, and then
$25,000.
they get the $25,000.
That's a lot of money back then, man.
Rebuilt, and they get the north-south tennis court.
That's
Uh-huh.
right.
I
That's
also
pretty
thought-
good. That's
What's
pretty
his?
good. Okay, this is
I know
now
that
one of my top 3 Phoenix movies. This is going to be this one, and it's going to be the Nutty Professor, and it's going to be Raising Arizona. So those are my favorite. This is one of my favorite 3 Phoenix films.
I
You
like
need
the
a,
actor.
you need a
Gauntlet.
list.
We've all seen that black actor. He's so good, but I liked that he was the straight man in this. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he's
He's the
Not having
judge.
any of it.
He's the judge in
He's
He's
a
great. He's a character
A
actor.
Few Good Men. Yeah.
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 Good character actor. Yeah, did a lot of stuff.
But he was really shined in this, I think. as
But
a
he was
straight
also
man.
that voice of reason. It's like
Yeah.
what you're doing makes no sense and it's gonna hurt people. And he was right, at the end.
How about when they
Right.
focus?
I like that his book didn't sell.
400,
Yeah,
less than
that's
400 copies and it's out of print.
Yeah.
There's that full 5 minutes where the scientists are trying to explain that he's now grabbing the coffee cup with his other hand.
Yeah. That
And-
was,
Yeah, I know. That's not nuts.
It was pretty
All-
ruthless about the scientists, I thought, or the
They were,
But
psychiatrists.
also, who were those hand models? Because that looked like an 80-year-old woman's hand, dude. Like, by the way, Like, I don't know. what
It was
up with
probably Brooks's mom.
that. Yeah.
Listen, like I said, I appreciate you guys being good sports.
Oh no.
I
Glad
I
I saw
will
it.
say that
No, this is unique. It's original.
All right. Well, hey, thumbs.
Vaudevillian.
I saw it. It's a
Yeah.
little,
Not all the way down, but
not 100%.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, can I do like a 45? Like,
Right.
Yeah, you
Sure.
can, sure. You can.
You can
Jim
do
does that
whatever
all
you
the
want.
time.
You probably need to do some degrees in here. So like, either it's
Yeah,
good, but not all the way up.
Hold on,
I'm
I'm gonna
an
get my,
eight.
I'm gonna get my
I don't want it in
protractor out. I'm
degrees,
gonna,
Scott. I want it in radians.
Oh, you got to start
I-
doing now. You start actually a little, like, a little bored with a little.
I appreciated
with
the
the
idea.
fingers and the hands, and like, oh, it's
I
there.
appreciate the
Okay.
idea.
I'm
a
at
lot.
8 o'clock
There you
or
go.
4 o'clock, depending.
Yeah, I'll do like, yeah. What? I don't know. I can't tell time.
you wanna look at my
These
watch?
kids and their digital watches
Half
these days.
five.
2 or 12. Or I don't know.
I'm like 9. I'm like 10. 10
Okay.
o'clock.
All right.
I'm like 9 o'clock.
refill time.